I know that Mr. Lee Shen encouraged us to use more Mandarin. I'm not sure whether toggling back and forth was what he meant, but thank you for keeping our translators on the ball. Mr. Bageng Huat.
So I believe he has asked for excuse from Speaker because he has a family matter to attend to urgently.
Okay. Ms. Cheryl Chan.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the budget. Minister Heng Swee Keat referred to the 2018 budget as a strategic and integrated financial plan for the long term. Singapore has long prided itself for planning with a long horizon and being prudent with our fiscal spending, to the extent that some skeptics may say we are very conservative. In 2018 budget, the statistics provided and plans announced are all focused to meet the projected needs in 2030. We know there are technological shifts that will impact our economy, an aging population looms, and the need to foster a caring society to strengthen the social aspects, supplementing the government's efforts. But beyond awareness of trends, surely we must do something about it. When I first began working, I used to ask myself, what is Singapore's budget about, and how does it impact me? What is this annual ritual that gets people talking and fuss about around the same time of the year? Like others, short-term handouts and schemes that directly impact us are what we're looking out for. Longer-term plans that are announced usually do not retain our thoughts for very long. After all, the Finance Minister announces many initiatives or schemes in each annual budget. So to many, the crux of the budget is, how much will I receive, and how much will the government take in return? Herein lies the problem. To many, they view our budget on a transactional basis rather than one that's about participative nation building. Recently, I had a dialogue with a group of 30 youths and young working adults. At the dialogue, we did an instant poll to understand what concerns them most about their future in Singapore. The results showed 3 areas of concerns. 1, future uncertainty, their job and Singapore's economy. 2, cost of living. 3, shrinking family support. Upon further discussion, I understood where the concerns arise from. One hand, it is heartening to know that some of our younger generation do look forward to understanding what Singapore's future is and think about how their future fits in the big picture. Given that Singapore is a mature economy and nature of jobs are rapidly changing, many are worried whether the economy can sustain at healthy rates and jobs remain available over time. Unless we maintain a high unemployment rate and have reasonable growing income in line with inflation, it will be difficult for the working class to manage their living costs, contribute for future needs, and save adequately for retirement. For a developed economy to maintain a sustainable growth rate of 1 to 3% is not an easy feat. Today, our competition is no longer local. The real competition is dynamic and beyond our shores. Regional global markets with substantive scale and the active hunt for talents are what constitutes our real competition. As workers, we cannot rest on our laurels and expect jobs to remain status quo or to remain readily available for us. Instead, creating opportunities, being innovative, and staying relevant are the new normal that we must learn to adapt to. We must possess the passion and drive to hunt for the next new and big thing. Thus, the need for constant upgrading of job skills, value adding in our work scope, and have already become a requirement on our part to keep abreast with time. Let me share a personal account of my own. Many of you know that traditional engineering jobs involves extensive work with long hours. When I started out as a fresh engineer, there are many situations that I encountered which are not taught in the books. It seems there are always new applications to learn, new situations to grapple with that require me to think on my own feet. I recall one incident when I was struggling and about to give up. This was what my then line manager told me. Do not shy away from the issues. Be keen to learn or do more. Always think and go beyond your assigned tasks. Continue to evolve, build your skills frequently as the company or even the global landscape changes. Someday, you will realize that you are the ultimate beneficiary of all the knowledge and skills that you have acquired in the process. I'm glad to have hit his advice then, as it has been one of the most practical and useful advice, and has since become my mantra for skills upgrade and constant learning even before Skills Future emerged. It has been 1.5 years since the economic restructuring efforts began. To have a future-ready economy, we need more than just future-ready workers. The companies also need to be forward-looking and continue in the job creation. Can Minister Heng provide more insights on how our economic restructuring efforts have been and how we are encouraging partnerships in the private sector? Have more jobs been created at different sectors, particularly for those in the middle age to senior workers? In this budget, much has been spoken about seniors aged 65 years and above. From 500,000 seniors today to 900,000 by 2030, this is not an insignificant increase in a decade. Earlier this month, a motion about strengthening support for our seniors was raised in this House. In the motion, we said that we should treasure and value our seniors, leverage and build upon the knowledge that they possessed. But where senior workers are concerned, I do not think the society has fully embraced this. It is true that skills gaps do exist in the marketplace today. But when the workers are equipped with new skills, will the industry hire those without the prior direct experience or in the same field? I feel that the largest gap in the restructuring efforts lies with the current hiring process. Tripartite efforts with private and public sector is a necessary partnership. However, beyond encouragement from the government, jobs creation for middle-aged and seniors workers can never be effected without a fundamental shift in the hiring process. Today, hiring managers are very focused on past relevant experience and not the potential or the value add that each individual candidate can bring to the job. This will limit how we can leverage the skills of individual in adapting to uncertainty at the workplace. I believe this is also one of the factors that stereotype and keep many in the mindset assuming older workers are a burden, whether in terms of health, efficiency, or knowledge. Way back in 1998, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos hires people with a different perspective. Before he hires or say yes to a new hire, there are 3 typical questions that he asks. 1, will you admire this person? 2, will this person raise the average level of effectiveness of the group they are entering? 3, along what dimension might this person be a superstar? Till date, I think these questions remain highly relevant to hiring. He focuses on the value the individual can bring to the team rather than what they have done in the past. With a limited and aging workforce, I urge all hiring managers across the industries to keep an open mind, begin rethinking and take concrete actions around this topic. As you, the hiring managers, are the most direct and effective channel to create such change that we truly need in retaining the talents, both young and old. Apart from the various initiatives like Place and Train, Adapt and Grow, that help some mid-career switch or displaced workers, more can be done. I suggest that the private and the public sector consider allocating some work days off for their staff to attend relevant upgrading classes, or for collaboration between the companies and course providers to offer customized courses and modules within the companies or the same industry in order to benefit more workers. As we move from growth to sustainability for the future, have we as a country and as a government done sufficiently to enable this? For sustainable outcomes, I believe it is prejudice to measure the outcomes purely on monetary terms. I would view this from 3 dimensions. First, we're building a social ecosystem, not an infrastructure. It is right to begin with the end game in mind. This will necessitate the need to plan, design, and build ahead of demand. Take today's healthcare in context. Our healthcare capacity has yet to achieve an optimal point that supports all near-term needs, much less the future. As we build more hospitals, nursing homes, and care centers, it is equally important to look beyond the hardware infrastructure. It is the holistic care ecosystem that we want our seniors to be able to age successfully in. What this means is we must radically initiate at least 1 generation of healthy, active seniors, where their needs are not dependent on the healthcare infrastructure to manage multiple chronic illnesses or sickly conditions. Instead, we want to build an ecosystem that provides quality social care that caters for their well-being, one in which it is less medically dependent, as the seniors are socially active and mentally healthy. Such ecosystem will require investments of a different scale and in communal activities where the community or corporate organizations can be more actively involved. Second, continuous improvement on value for many projects. Over time, we're seeing more value for many projects which are large in both physical and financial scale. We often raise questions when large expenditures are in view. Naturally, people will look immediately to cost-cutting measures and easily follow the pursuit of low-cost solutions, when in fact, what we need is a balance between cost-effectiveness and execution efficiency. On one hand, we understand the need to constantly scrutinize the projects under planning and development. We know the need to check whether projects are within budget, on time, or has any base parameters changed with time and thus requiring adjustments to serve the primary purpose. On the other hand, as projects become more complex, what is not obvious and easily overlooked is how effective have we coordinated the execution efforts as a project team. How then, on the long run, can we ensure there's no wastage that collectively delivers more value than us purely squeezing the last dollar? And lastly, the changing fabric of our social safety net. With shrinking family sizes, the nature of support required also evolves. Over time, the social safety net may not be meant only for the low-income bracket. We should consider strengthening this net signifies some intervention for the middle working class. As we continue to ensure social mobility as a key pillar within our society, the changing demographics do justify the need of changing the fabric of our safety net to give it the composite strength, without which it can be difficult for working family members, especially those who are the sole caregiver, to juggle between their work, children, and caring for the aged parents without external support. I would like to ask if the ministry will consider policy changes in these areas. First, to mandate that companies allow employees to convert unused medical leave to family care leave or elder care leave for their immediate family members. Second, to enhance the tax relief for children who are not living with their parents but are the primary caregivers. Third, to consider modeling a time bank incentive scheme that provides rebates or care options for families who have contributed their time for other elderly within the community when they are still able. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'll conclude in Mandarin. 议长先生，身为新加坡公民，每个人都有义务为国家的建设与发展付出一份力量。在为自己的前途奋斗当儿，我们也必须未雨绸缪，为下一代的前景发展规划做好准备。然而，国家未来的发展充满了挑战，我们该如何在不给下一代带来额外的负担的情况下，继续多元化的发展呢？最简单的答案是：首先，我们必须为自己的生活打点妥当；接着，为家庭的未来规划，并且努力奋斗，创造更美好的生活。我们应该秉持着同样的信念，历经国志，继续为下一代建立雄厚的储备金。这就是前人种树，后人乘凉的道理。与此同时，我们应具备前瞻性的战略，开源节流，善于利用资源，以达到事半功倍的效果。先辈们就是通过这种方式，让我们享有他们努力的回报成果。这并非雄辩言辞，而是希望大家能思考于莫过于个人的利益，我们也能有更宏观的目标。除非我们愿意为子孙后代继续的努力前进，否则随意动用储备金或现有盈余的念头总会持续下去。And with this, I support the budget.